clearest chart to me is gold. Now, I keep saying my expectation is I believe we are going to see a larger C wave down that can probably take us to the 3,700 to 4,000 region. That's still my expectation. However, the purple count will simply not die. Let me explain what that is. In the purple count, you're looking at this decline. Well, this being the purple count, first of all, is a very complex WXY structure. Let's start with that. And even with that, you're talking about an expanded WXY structure. So however you want to track this, it is a very complex structure, very expanded WXY. And now the market could be setting up an A, B, C for the Y wave. How are we going to know? Well, I'm leaving it open that we're trying to complete a C wave and 5 wave, with this being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But admittedly, this looks a little too big to be 4, and that's why I like it better as a 2. So this could be a 1, 2 down, and that's the more immediate target lower. And I'll show you what the target will be in a second. But should the market take this path, let me get rid of this. Get rid of that extension. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. But 40, I'm going to do just 4,400 on the nose. Good enough. That 4,400 region is where A equals C. And that would be, even in a little bit more of a conservative way in calling that the A wave. But I think that's really the really traditional A wave. I think this looks like an expanded B wave also. But from a standard structure and a conservative way, I'd be looking at the 4,400 region as your support here, if this really is going to be waves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, not my preferred count, but I cannot ignore this potential for the purple still. What will take me out of the purple? Now, first of all, what will put me into the purple? If this holds, and then we get a 5 wave structure over this wave 2, ladies and gentlemen, then it likely means we're starting the C wave rally up here. Okay? Let me show you this on a smaller degree and what it would mean to take it out as a target completely for that B wave. If this is a wave 1, 2, as I was showing, ladies and gentlemen, okay, your pivot is here. Remember, if you move through the 764 extension of a 1, 2, it's likely wave 3 down already. Now, I said we need to sustain a sustained break of the 4,400, which is the A equals C level. I would say when you zoom in a little more, I would say that sustained break means you're below 43.65. Because below 43.65, I really cannot view this as a 5th wave, and I have to start looking at this as the 3rd wave down. Just so you know, this 5 wave structure, let me just make sure that's locked. Yes, this 5 wave structure on a 2.0 extension is pointing you to 39.60. It is unlikely that all we'll get is a 2.0 extension. The more reasonable extension is going to be the 2618, which is at about 37.50. And I think that is a very reasonable target if we start breaking down below the pivot. Okay, so you could see probably about 600 points below the pivot if we start breaking down. But don't jump yet. I'm not wholly confident yet because that purple count still will not die. So that's, and this is the clearest chart of the 3 that I'm about to show you guys. So that's why I'm focusing so much and going so deeply into this chart. On GDX, it really comes down to the 8180 region. Because until you actually break down below the 8180 region, that purple count is going to remain on the chart. And there are several paths lower immediately on this chart. But like I said, gold is the cleanest and clearest of the charts. So the one thing that is relatively clear in GDX is that 8180 of support. Below that, and I think we're going down in a more direct fashion. Okay. Silver just is doing its own damn thing. Silver is in an extraordinarily complex structure. And I am not even going to attempt a micro count on silver. It is just an absolute mess. I'm not even attempting a micro count on silver at the moment, folks. I think I'm going to be following through with the GDX level and watching gold much more carefully because it is a much clearer chart at the moment. But in the bigger picture, silver is the same perspective as gold. Are we going to get a higher B wave before we get the C wave down, or has that C wave already begun? That's really the question.